I'm a mom of 5 babies. I am pregnant with our 6th, and I have had 5 births, 2 natural, 1 emergency C-section, and 2 successful VBACs. And I'm hoping for a successful VBAC again at home. Alright, this is going to go along with my series of my birth stories, and this is part 2. So this is my second child, who is currently almost 8 years old. Her birthday is this month. I'm going to kind of lead up to her birth before I get to her birth story. My second baby was born 3, almost 4 years after my first. We did not plan for them to be that far apart. We were hoping closer around the 3-year mark, but I don't know, something just wasn't lining up for us at that time, and it turns out to be really nothing. Everything finally worked out the way God intended it to be. So they are the ones that have the biggest age gap, but it really doesn't make a difference at all. Her birthday is obviously in June, so I had another summer baby, so I'm in Florida, so it was another hot pregnancy for me. This pregnancy was way different than my first pregnancy because I was finally officially a stay-at-home mom, and I got to experience my entire pregnancy just being a mama to my firstborn, and we still did all the things. We never slowed down a bit. I was at the beach by myself with my 3-year-old 2 days before I had my second baby, and I was already kind of like feeling some like pre-labor things. I actually had a older woman stop me on the beach and tell me that I was about to have my baby, and I was like, no, I still got like a week or so left. I will definitely say I was in denial, if that's what you want to call it, because my first baby came on her due date, so I was completely convinced that my second baby was going to do the exact same thing. She ended up coming 5 days before her due date. On the day that she was born, I woke up and I could definitely tell that I was in labor. My 3-year-old wanted some homemade waffles, so I still made some waffles and some like fruit syrup to go on it. I was definitely carrying about my day as normal as I could, but I was definitely also slowing it down because the contractions were getting pretty strong, but they were still far apart. Ironically, I had an OB appointment that morning at 11 a.m. So it was like, well, I'm already going to be seen by my doctor, so I'm just going to kind of like see what happens, and then I'm going to see him later, and then he can tell me what to do. So fast forward to my OB appointment. I went down there, and which my OB appointment is about 45 minutes away from where I live. So once I got down there, he was an older gentleman who was my OB, and he is who delivered 4 of my 5 last babies. So I really admired that guy, but this was the first baby that I was having that he was delivering. So he told me that, no, you aren't going to have the baby today. And I told him, oh yes, I am. He's told me I was able to breathe and talk through the contractions. So that meant that therefore I wasn't really in active labor. So I told him, I said, they're getting really strong and they're getting closer together. And he said, see, you would be able to carry on a conversation like that with me right now if it was really happening. And let me just preface this by saying every single time I go into labor, I am zero dilated. So that also played into this. So he knew that I was not dilated. My water hadn't broken, and I was breathing, talking through contractions. So we left that appointment. We actually went and ate some lunch to where I was just like breathing through every single bite. And I just knew that it was baby time, but my husband was still at work. So I still drove all the way back home, let my husband know so he could come home. And we kind of just got ourselves ready. And I'm like, this is it. Like, we're still going to go to the hospital because I know for a fact that I'm about to have this baby. That 45-minute ride, because my hospital is also that distance away from me, seemed like forever because I was breathing. It was serious. It was serious. And it started to rain. So if that couldn't have made it any more nerve-wracking of a drive to the hospital. Ironically, I got to the hospital and it seemed like I had to convince everyone that I was in labor for some reason. So I can't stand when you get to the hospital, they want to take their time and do the registration. And I'm like, I need to get to a hospital delivery room. So I'm assuming this is how all hospitals work. I don't know, but they take you into a room to like get you checked in, like get you in your like gown and, you know, do a urine sample, like check to see if you're even having a baby. And then if you are, then you'll go to a delivery room. So I was in that room. I was very emotional. I was crying, and I had a nurse tell me, oh, honey, if you are already crying this bad, you need to go ahead and get an epidural. And I was like, no, I'm crying because I miss my daughter, because obviously she's going to be at the hospital with me. And, like, you know, I'm never apart from her, so it was just a lot at one time. And so I was like, is she going to be able to come see me after I have this baby? Yada, yada. So I had me a little breakdown there for a second. But I also was, like, I felt like I was about to deliver that baby right there on that bed that I was in, that was not the delivery room. So in comes my husband, and then this is when he, like, all right, he's already did this one time. He is ready to be my voice and my advocate, and he's like, listen, she's about to have a baby. Like, we need to get to the delivery room. So they were like going to wheelchair me across the hall to it, and I was like, no. I'm walking, because as soon as I get over there, this baby's coming out. So I walked across, and I actually seen my OB. They had called him in, obviously. So I seen him, and I was like, I told you that this was going to happen. And he had a good laugh about it. So we obviously went into the delivery room. You might hear me mention this in one of my videos here in the future, because I'm going to make a video based off of reasons why I have chosen home birth. And this isn't like a huge reason, but it definitely plays a role. I just feel like there's so much unnecessary interaction that could either wait till after the baby gets here, or just, like, honestly, it's not important at all. I don't know. But apparently registration did not give me all the paperwork. So I am quite literally about to push this baby out, and they are like putting papers in front of my face for me to sign. I'm like, to sign? I'm not signing nothing right now. And it was like, is this important at this moment? It's hard for me to pick which delivery was my favorite. Definitely not my emergency C-section, I can tell you that. But this delivery was definitely one of my favorites, because I was in there and having a baby so fast, they could not hook anything up to me. Like, you know, how you have the typical IV or whatever. No, it was too late. Like, I tried to tell them, and as soon as I got over there in the delivery room and barely got up on the table, it was go time. It was time to push, and I only pushed for maybe a couple minutes. I don't know how many times I pushed, but all I know is that she felt like a big baby coming out of me. Also, if you already don't know by following me, I do not find out my baby's genders, so every single time is a surprise. So, and my husband will tell me the gender once the baby comes out. So baby was delivered, everything. That was so fast, so incredibly amazing, because I mean, like, it was just me and me pushing the baby out. And I mean, obviously my OB caught the baby, and my husband told me it's a girl. So I was excited. I don't care gender either way, but I was like, I'm going to have 2 girls now. I know big sister's going to be so excited, so happy, all the things. So with my first birth story, I felt like y'all were probably going to be bored by it, because it was just so, like, textbook basic. This one was just so fast that there wasn't even anything to talk about. Like, she came out, 0 problems of anything. She, like, had the slightest bit of jaundice, but literally nothing to worry about. And we were home by the 26-hour mark. Like, that was it. So that was another reason why that was, like, my favorite birth, because I barely had to deal with the hospital or the hospital staff or just, like, anything, because I had nothing hooked to me, and everything went so well with me and baby that we were like, it's standard. I guess you have to, like, wait till 24 hours before you can check out. And they were like, actually had my paperwork ready to go, and was just like, all right, as soon as 24 hours hit, you can get out of here. And so we were gone and back home, and it literally went that great. So that being said, everybody told me, oh, every baby after your first one will go so fast, and with each one it will continue to come even faster. And I'm like, wow, well, the second baby just flew on out of there quite quickly. That's kind of crazy. Don't believe that. That's not true. That is not true. And you will hear why with my other birth stories that are coming. So with my second, there really is not much of a story as far as it involving birth. It was a lot of, like, just, like, leading up to getting to that point and convincing everybody that I was actually indeed in labor. But the actual laboring and pushing like I said, I close my eyes, I go in the zone, and that's all it took. Like, there was no, like, there wasn't anything else going on other than me having this baby. I will say that my OB and me had an even better relationship after having my second baby, because he then knew what to expect from me when it came time to have a baby. And from there on out, it's like, you better listen to her. She knows her body. And that's who was the person who, like, basically told me, convinced me, like, hey, you got a high pain tolerance, because there was no reason that you should have been talking to me throughout all those contractions like you were. And I was like, I was trying to tell you. That being said, I feel like my second was by far my most natural that I was going to get, natural birth that I was going to get within the hospital. Still though, for me in that time, like, laying on your back and doing the standard position for delivery is just what I only knew and what I expected to do and have to do. So, like, had I known anything back then, I probably would have been able to change that up a bit. But as far as being hooked to anything, nothing. As far as, like, just worrying about me pushing out the baby, that's all I had to do. It went amazing. No complaints. Always very grateful that I'm able to bring a beautiful, healthy baby into this world. On top of my husband telling me the gender of the baby, my daughter got to share the gender with everybody else and share her name.
What do you got?
A girl.
Oh, what's her name?
Clementine.
Oh.
So my second baby is Clementine. So at that moment, I had a Coraline and a Clementine. And at that point, I was officially a girl mama. And so you best believe I did all the matching outfits that I could. This is kind of why I was, like, on the fence about sharing my birth stories, because definitely baby 1 and baby 2 are somewhat boring, because there's really nothing to tell. Like, basically everything I said is what happened and the results of everything. So it really didn't start getting, I guess, not really crazy, but different with my third, fourth, and fifth baby. And they were all boys. So I have this thing where as soon as I go into labor, that's when I can guess the gender. Nowhere in my pregnancy will I be able to, like, pinpoint something that tells me the gender. But I dang sure can tell when I go and am in active labor, because as soon as those babies start giving me a hard time, then I know it's a boy. So you'll have to catch up on those stories on the next one.